Well, hello everybody. Full Contact Poker Podcast. I thought it'd be fun to bring, you guys remember Popcorn from the summer?
Oh, that's me.
the guy, JT, yeah, you're Popcorn.
That's me,
because
right?
you always steal my popcorn, yeah. So I thought it'd be fun to have him here with me when we go over some poker issues and stuff because, just me talking all the time is less exciting, and he's always got freaking opinions. Mr. Opinion over here. And before we get into all the stuff I want to talk about, we got a long list, including the Mike Leah stuff and a whole bunch of other things, and the USPO, the awards show, and other things that are relevant in poker. Start with what you've been up to, and you've been playing Bellagio. What games have been going? What's been going down?
There's been a wide range of games, I guess, but mostly there's like either a really big game, like 15-3 mix, or like 2 and 4,000 big bet mix. I think they even got up to like 3 and 6,000 big bet mix, which is like a mix of the limit games, like stud high, stud 8 or better, stuff like that. And then they also play the same games, pot limit or no limit, like no limit stud 8 or pot limit stud 8.
They're playing that at Bellagio or Aria? The big bet mix?
At the Bellagio. So
they're playing the big bet there too.
With the cap. I think they play, like when they play 3 and 6,000, I think they play a $200,000 cap. And I don't know what the blinds are, but it's a huge game. I mean,
yeah, you getting how come you can't get any private games? Like, you suck.
Huh?
I mean, how come you can't get any of those private games? Like,
what private games?
They have private games at Aria all the time, like with a bunch of random people. I see it all the time. It's like that's the thing that's changed about poker. Like in the old days, and what I appreciate about the mixed games is that it's one of the last areas in Vegas where there is no private. Like, you have money, you sit down. But like at Aria, the top 3 games, it's like unless you know somebody in the game, you can't get in. You should be able to play though, because you're fucking clueless.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I
don't know. I gotta make some phone calls.
Especially no limit, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, you're pretty good at some stud games and stuff.
Yeah, I know what to do in the stud sometimes.
You know what I'm doing right now? I'm just like playing them down so I can get them in the fantasy draft, which I always end up getting for like a few. But your price has been going up lately because of that third place. I think this might be the year we passed. That third place in the 50K. So what have you been playing?
But anyway, so I was going to say there's that huge game. And then on the other end, there's like an 8160 is the consistent small game.
Badoogie, Badesi, Bashasi.
No, they don't play like all of the
games.
horrible games. They don't play like super stud, res, Dacey.
Yeah.
There is like some Badusi and Badesi, but it's a reasonable mix of games. And then once in a while we get like a 2 and 4 mix, which is like
so there's multiple games going like every night, or is it just weekends?
No. There's almost always an 8160, and then there are like streaks of time where there's the big game.
So what game is like Elliot Lesber playing now?
Like 8160 or 2 and 400.
And what about Chow Jang? I love poker. Remember Chow? Oh, baby, I love.
He's around the Bellagio. I don't know exactly.
He's a grinder.
Yeah, he's grinding.
Yeah, grinding hard.
Yeah, he's grinding hard. But yeah, so it's been pretty somewhat eventful, I'd say, the last like month of the Bellagio. It kind of goes in lulls and goes up and down in terms of action.
But the game in Bobby's room is going.
No, it goes for like a couple weeks and then stops. Then it goes for a couple weeks and stops.
They've been playing Chinese. I'm on the text line. I get the text.
Yeah, I don't know.
Doyle just seems to want to play Chinese, or Doyle says. For those that don't know what Doyle says, want to explain what Doyle says is? You know what Doyle says is?
No, pass out? I don't know.
No, Doyle says is like a mix of games that just Doyle says.
Yeah, so it's like 5-card draw high.
Well, yeah, like deuce to 7, Badoogie, Raz, Dacey, all that kind of stuff. Whatever he wants to play. So sounds like rocking and rolling. Oh,
Doyle says is now Gordo playing Doyle at or something. He's tweeting at Gordo like
they have an awesome Twitter rivalry.
I don't know if it's a rivalry. It's just Doyle tweeting at Gordo.
Yeah,
Gordo makes comebacks once in a while.
He must think Gordo's like the worst.
Or I don't know, or he just like truly enjoys fucking with him like immensely. Like I think it's like the highlight of his day on some days.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, Doyle's actually, when you think about it, the guy's like 85. And he's probably the most prolific 85-year-old Twitterer in the world.
Oh,
like I can't imagine. 100%. And he's witty and funny, and
he should go down in the Guinness Book of World Records.
I mean, like how many people from he's definitely the best tweeter from his generation. I think someone said that because he's like the only one from his generation.
But if there were others, he would still be the best.
No, yeah, he's up there for sure.
He's hilarious.
So you've been playing Bellagio. You've been winning, losing what?
I've been doing pretty good the last couple of months. I'm on a little upswing. Mostly the last couple of days, I've played in some bigger games that have been mostly heads up.
Heads up?
I won't say with who.
You've been playing heads up?
Just
some
superstar?
A couple
times.
Oh, we gotta get the scoop. Who are you playing heads up?
Pretty well.
Is it the same person all the time?
I don't want to lose the action, so I
okay, what does he spot you? Does he spot you a 6th card or something?
Yeah, he's been known to spot me
something.
So
you remember Doc Jennings back in the day?
Yeah, I know.
He used to play people.
No, he's still around.
Is he?
Yeah.
He would play people heads up triple draw and spot them. And spot him a 6th card to start. Like pretty strong.
And if they beat him, he has this. You know the bracelet thing? He like brings. He has like 10 bracelets he brings and dumps them on the table. and if you beat him in like a certain freeze out, you get a certain bracelet.
And
that goes
Sammy
along with
Farha, like I guess people don't get position in extra cards. It's kind of a big thing. Sammy Farha gave Brandon Adams years ago, like in PLO, the button, just like every hand in PLO.
It seems a little backwards. Shouldn't it be the other way around?
What?
Like Brandon.
Oh,
should
well,
give
I don't
Sammy
know.
the
Like
button.
I guess back then Sammy was the PLO wizard because he didn't fold on the flop where everyone else folded way too much.
That makes sense.
So anyway, a lot of things I want to talk about. One of the things was obviously from the U.S. Poker Open. I had some really good results, and I posted a tweet of one hand, and I was like really interested in the results and sort of the back and forth from a lot of different people about the breakdown of the hand. So I want to break down a hand. I know podcasts are not easily necessarily the best way to like discuss poker hands, but we're just going to cover one because I thought it encompasses a lot. And so the hand is it's 5-handed, okay, 500 1,000 blinds with a 1,500 total ante. You know, we do like the big blind ante, so it's 5-handed, right? So Ben Tollerine in the cutoff. Makes it to cutoff. Well, you guys should know this by now. He raises to 2,500. Dan Smith on the button calls 2,500. So I'm in a small blind. I've got the ace of spades, king of diamonds, and I decide to make it 15-5. Right? We're pretty deep at this point. You know, everyone's got like, 100 big blinds or something. So whatever. I make it 15-5. Right? They both call. Right? I probably would prefer just one of them call, but it's not like the end of the world.
Yeah,
I'm still like pretty. I'm in good shape. I mean, they have pairs or whatever. But so now the flop comes: king of hearts, queen of clubs, deuce of hearts. Right. So I've got ace king. So the standard play is to
bet.
Yeah, I mean, I think so for the most part, right?
You have a good hand.
I've got the highest pair on the board, and that's pretty good with a high kicker.
Yeah.
But for a lot of reasons, I decided to check it here. I feel like, part of it is like, I'm not that kind of guy that's like, okay, well, I have this hand, I should always bet. You want to have a little bit of layers to your game. You want to have some creativity, if you will, and not be like zoned into just having one possible hand. So,
it's generally a good idea not to like turn your cards.
Well, what I was interested to see is so many people that responded were like, well, you have to bet this flop. And they're like, and I'm like, why? It's like, because you have ace king. I'm like, oh, I see. So when I have ace king, I should bet always.
Just
so
tell
that means when I check, I never have it, right?
Yeah.
So I like to mix it up a little bit, and I decided to check, which I think is fine. Now it gets checked around. I don't have a heart, as I said, right? So now the turn is the 7 of diamonds. It's like a brick. I bet pretty small, like, little feeler bet, 12K, pretty small bet. And Ben Tollerine makes it 45,000. Now when he does that, what do you think, like, he has there? Like, what range does he have that he would raise me there? The 45K. Now, I have with the 45, if I call that, I have 110 back. So after I bet 12, I have 155 less. So he's making it 45, opening up the possibility that I could jam on him for 110 more. So what hands can he do that with?
I guess there's a lot of hands in theory.
I don't know, though. So, my thinking was, okay, so obviously if he's got me nutted, he's got, king, queen, he's got a set of sevens, he's got, king, queen or whatever, then,
You could have even 3 queens, it's possible.
But do you give him a hand like some kind of a draw?
It's possible. I wouldn't. He's not exactly the type of player I'd want to confine to only being able to have certain things in certain.
Right, but my thinking is okay, so part of me is well, why would
probably call though?
Why raise with the draw there?
It doesn't make sense.
Maybe if you're raising with a draw, in case you miss, you're planning on just bombing the river, right?
Or maybe he thinks you never check good hands on the flop, just like the Twitter people.
Exactly. So he thinks my range is so narrow that I'm either maybe ace queen at best, and I'm never going to re-raise him, or I'm nutted, but then he's going to shut himself off.
If he thinks you're nutted, then he.
So anyway, it comes back to me, and I am not folding here. I was surprised that 32% of people on the poll said fold. If you fold here, that's come on, man.
So they think you should bet, but then also after you check.
So they think I should bet 12 they obviously they thought I butchered the hand all around, and I'm very comfortable with the way that I played the hand. But once I bet the 12K, I'm never folding to 45K on this board, right? Especially with ace king, right? The question is, and here's where I think a small mistake tournament-wise, is whether or not you just want to call, right? And give him an opportunity to bluff it off in the river, or just shut the door in case he does have some sort of a draw, right? So in a cash game, I'm more comfortable with letting cards come off, but in a tournament, it might have been better to just jam. I decided to call anyway, and the river card comes another 7. So that card, okay, that connects with what, pocket sevens? He doesn't have king 7, queen 7. He's not playing any of those pre-flop.
Or 6, 7 of hearts. Or
6, 7, 7, 8 of hearts. That's it. Or he had me dead anyway, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think if he has king queen, he's gonna love that.
It's a good river for you overall.
If he has king queen, I don't know that he bombs that river that much. He's got to be a little bit worried that I have aces, I mean, she still probably bombs it anyway. So I check, and he bets my last 110, and the question to the Twitter audience was call or fold, and 32% of people voted for fold, and I just don't think
The river.
Yeah, I just don't think against world class players like Ben Tollerine, like if I did that long term, he's gonna chew me up and spit me out. You know what I mean? If I'm folding that good of my hand in this situation, what the hell am I gonna? Then he can do it with anything, because like what am I gonna call it? Just 3 kings and just 3 queens? Like I have to call there.
Yeah.
So like, and plus it was a rebuy. Not that had anything to do with it, because Salzburg, salty or whatever. He's like, did it affect your decision because it was like a re-entry? I'm like, not really. I mean,
maybe a tiny.
maybe a little, but like seriously, what?
Yeah.
Even if
You're
it
not
wasn't.
there to dump off your
Yeah, it
chips.
seems kind of stupid. So overall, the thing that was interesting to me, most like depressing, was the flop play where everyone was like so convinced that I had to bet like 100% of the time with Ace King, and I just find that is not the way that I like to play poker. I've been learning, I've been doing some new things, and I've always been a guy who likes to mix it up.
Especially when you're playing with like the high roller fields of people that
You play the same guys all the time.
Yeah,
right.
You're playing with them at every single tournament that you play. You're always going to be with.
I was still surprised. Like, so anyway, the hand showed up. Ben showed up with 6-7 of hearts.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised to see that hand, but he mentioned out loud. He said that he thought I had Ace Queen. Like he said, I thought you had Ace Queen, which I guess his plan was to raise turn and bomb river anyway. So in a sense, I really like the way I played the hand, because if he misses the river, I think I'm going to get that extra 110 and whatnot. So anyway, the USPO was the US Poker Open. For those of you that watched it, it was on Poker Go daily, basically. It was pretty good coverage. Like I think they've done a really good job with the coverage.
They're doing a phenomenal job,
Yeah.
for sure.
So it was kind of like a runaway Stephen Chidwick show, and I don't know that I've ever seen anything like this in 20 years of poker. One of the nicest guys in the game. For the last year and a half, you asked me like, who's the unluckiest player in the high rollers? Definitely Stevie J.
Oh, really?
Not anymore. I mean,
No,
not anymore. It was uncanny. Every time he was all in any situation with like 2 outs with the river, it was just pure. And he absolutely crushed it. I did really well. I came in 3rd throughout the whole USPO. Out of 8 events, I had 2 thirds, a 6th, 2 7ths.
Did you win any side bets?
I did. I won the fantasy draft too, because we did a 50K fantasy
I saw
draft.
that.
Here's what pick the people didn't see. I always take Jake Schindler because I think he's really good, and I'm like, what the hell? So let's take Jakey. The only German that showed up was Rainer Kemping. The rest stayed home. And then with my last pick, people were like, who's Keith Tilson? And I had the opportunity to play with him all week, and I thought he played really good deep stack, and the structure was going to be a little better. So I was like, okay, I'll take
And he
a
was on a
flyer.
roll.
He was playing well, yeah. So
Confidence.
it ends up being 3-handed with Jake and Keith. So like I won the draft anyway.
Yeah.
I also won a few side bets from Bryn Kenny because we had a like most cashes, and he didn't cash at all. Like Bryn was. So that's the thing about Bryn Kenny, right? He's a great player, and when he's zoning, he's feeling good. But he's very different than a lot of the other players. He plays like, I guess you call he's like a field player kind of guy. And when he's not feeling it right or
He's
cards are not
definitely
rolling,
not doing the same thing every time. And
oh no, he's tough to play against for sure. So I beat him in that bet. And one of the things that stuck out about the USPO that I want to get your feedback on is we had massive turnout for the mixed game.
Yeah.
Why didn't you show up and play that one?
I was actually in like a pretty fun and interesting cash game. We were playing like a big bet mix that I don't always play in, and I just felt like I didn't really feel like having to wake up the next day at a certain time.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah, especially before 2:00.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't
No,
that big of a deal to me.
But anyway,
It's not like
what it really got me excited to see was I saw Ming there. Ming Lee.
Yeah.
Saw Ming there. Saw like Ralph Perry.
Yeah.
It's like guys I played poker with 20 years ago that like loved it, and like so much of the discussion around the tables were like, we should do more of these, right?
Well, they almost got it going last year.
What's that?
We had like a couple of the 25K.
Yeah, me and
Ras
Rasties.
You and Ras were getting going.
What I'm thinking about doing, and I'm sort of talking to Poker Go and seeing what I can create, because this is what I do for fun. Like outside of like being a poker player and playing, I like to create events that I think would be good for poker, especially good for splitting mixed games. I come up with like a series of like 9 events with buy-ins maybe ranging from maybe 1 5K, but something
Poker Open.
like, well, I don't know, we don't have to call it that. My last name doesn't roll off the tongue, So maybe something between like a 10K and then like the 50K main event, which is like an 8 game.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about having different types of mixes, like a no limit hold'em and a PLO. Having like a a stud mix, a horse mix, like
Big bet
every tournament,
mix.
Big bet
Weird
mix,
games,
a dealer's choice mix, like for one series. And I'm thinking about,
that.
I think so. Like based on the turnout we got for that event, I feel like a mixed game sort of series could do fine at those stakes, as long as they're like fast-paced tournaments. They're like one-day events, which brings me to like as a segue.
And
Perfect
you
segue.
could do some satellites.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's who said it. Oh my God, I think it was Alan Kessler who recommended that. Never mind. Which is a good segue into the 50K. So there's a couple mistakes I think with the 50K. Like every tournament during the 25Ks, we were getting 50 players approximately, 65 for like the 10Ks, and for the 50K, the number ended up being 33, which was way under what we expected. And I think there was two mistakes. One, they started at noon rather than 2, which shouldn't be a big deal because the structure was really, really good, except for the fact that the people that showed up at noon, there was only 7 people. And those 7 people were all like killers. Wow. So like I saw some of the guys that had played all week. I saw new faces all week that just didn't, they showed up, they didn't play. Because like you typically those tournaments, what's great about them is the way Carry Cat sets it up is you show up on time, you pay no rake, right? So like everyone shows up right away.
Right.
Like it doesn't start with like 5
smart.
superstars and then nobody joins. You know, it's like everyone kind of shows up at the same time. So one of the reasons I think, well, that's one of the reasons I think the tournament might have been down. But the other one, which I want to get your feedback on, is like, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think a lot of the business guys were turned off by it being a 3-day event.
Oh yeah, I don't know. That's not really my world. Like the high roller type things. I'm not really well versed in like what the business been like, what they don't like and stuff. But I mean,
Well,
it seemed like it does make sense.
That was one of the big differences because these guys play. Like, so the thing is, the 25Ks, there's re-entry, so they often end up being a 50K anyway, because the structures are pretty quick. So it's kind of like a 50K. So to see like none of them play the 50K, the only key difference really was the fact that it was scheduled as a 3-day event.
It does seem like most of the high rollers, like in Europe and stuff, are 1-day, 2-day events.
Well, I think I think the lesson there too is when you look at some of the WPTs and you look at some of these longer terms, they're like 5 to 7 day events, right? How many guys who are like businessmen are going to go like take a full 8 days out of their schedule to play 10K or something like that?
True.
That's part of why these high rollers were created in the first place.
Right.
Because a lot of these like business people or whatever, they didn't want to play a 7-day tournament, but they still have a lot of money and they want to play a small tournament.
And it also might have just been like some randomness, just being like the date on being at a certain time, and you know people had already been there all week playing.
But that was the thing. It was on a Friday and went through the weekend, so you would think that would be like the best timing for it. So anyway, a lot of lessons there, but I think maybe, and I don't think it needed to be a 3-day event. Like you can manipulate the structure so that the early play is a little faster and you still get enough play, at the final table.
It seemed like a pretty big success overall, though.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, Chidwick won the trophy. Here's the thing people don't know in poker, or people don't think. People who shit on all these kind of stuff because they're not in this world, is everyone was actually wanted to win that trophy.
Yeah.
Like Chidwick cared. He was like, I gotta get the next one. Like everyone there, they care about these types of things, right? They cared about the Poker Masters, even though it was just a purple jacket that nobody's ever gonna wear, right? These types of things is how we start to create the possibility that we create a major tour, right? It starts from somewhere. There's no added money or anything like that, but the bragging rights are there. You wouldn't believe, and I'm not going to mention names, how many of the guys in the GPI, like top 30, are playing for peanuts.
Yeah.
Like very small percentage because of the love of the game and the pride. They have the opportunity to make some people money. So listen, I'll play for 5%. And they're going to play in these high rollers, and then you go see them playing, 2-5, no limit hold'em. I have no problem with that, really. I mean, these are guys that, have the faith of some backers, and what it shows me is I think the perception people have is nobody cares about this stuff. It's just not true.
No, that's not true.
Adrian's talking about the GPI. Justin's talking about where he is and all this kind of stuff. I'm there. I see it. And these people care. And I think the fact that they care excites poker fans more. It's not like people just not caring and just being whatever. I'm just here for the money. I'm like, oh, you're so cool. You only care about the money. Good for you. I like trophies. Okay.
I mean, it's not all that different than like you said, the major professional sports like the NBA, NHL. Those guys, I mean, granted, they do get financially compensated when they win the Stanley Cup or win the championship, but not much compared to their
they're
salary.
already exactly they're already making so much money. It's not like winning the cup or for Federer and Nadal when they're heads up, which I'm going to get to an example of them in a minute. When they're heads up, it's not like they're like, well, I've already they it's not the extra money that they really care about. It's they want to win Wimbledon. They want to win the U.S. Open, whatever the case may be.
The money along with it is nice. But same with poker. If you win the U.S. Poker Open trophy, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but
it's not like there needs to be.
But anyway, the point is I know the community, especially those that play for those things, and whether it's the World Series Player of the Year and all this stuff that some people that don't partake in it, whatever, just completely shit on. All these things that make poker a little more interesting, a little more exciting for those that play and for the fans at home.
And it gives a chance for growth also.
Exactly.
Tradition breeds growth. And
I don't know that I love the way, and I disagree with Kerry on this, but that's fine. We discuss it. He does just cash only, so he doesn't have a point system. which for the Poker Masters, Stefan Sondheimer had like 4 thirds, third, fourth. If he didn't cash in the main, he wouldn't have won to a guy who just won the main.
Yeah.
So that's kind of silly.
That is
like
silly.
Chidwick ended up locking it up before the main, but that's because he just destroyed it.
Yeah.
You know, like 2 wins, 2/3. Like you can't.
Yeah,
you
like
can't
if they
fade
did
those.
the World Series, the main event winner would be Player of the Year every single year.
Right. It's like, what's the point? If you just did most money, you're like, okay, well, it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what, this guy's going to win 30 bracelets to come second?
Yeah.
You know? But on that sort of topic of, you know, poker awards, Player of the Year stuff, trophies, and whether or not that matters, sort of the meaty subject I wanted to get to a little bit was, before I do, there's one other thing that came up while we were playing. So we did a draft, as you could see,
Yeah,
right?
I saw that.
We did a draft where we picked players, and like one of the players, who's a pro, wasn't picked yet, so I thought maybe he was a little annoyed about that. Like he was very upset that we were doing that at the table, because he felt like there was a couple of amateurs at the table that were watching this, and they're thinking like he felt like we alienated them,
Right.
and that they weren't going to come play anymore. And I was like, I don't know that it's necessarily true, but I can see his
It's
point.
not an unreasonable.
Like, to be honest with you, like, I got a lot of value from doing those drafts. So we did them in Super High Roll because I like to see where I go.
Right.
Like, or if I don't get picked at all. Or who picks you. Because then you have a little bit more insight into how, you know, whatever, like, who thinks you suck. Like, if there's a field of 35 and they pick 32 players and you're not one of them, you might be like, oh, wow, these guys really think I suck.
Yeah.
So I like that, but I can see what he was talking about. And I think probably it's best to do those things, maybe not publicly. Although, but that's the thing, is I think a lot of people are interested. Because like I posted on Twitter and everyone's like, oh, you know, they want to see who got drafted. But it can either hurt feelings or wake people up too, right? So if like you got a pro who thinks he's one of the, you know, better players and you sees all the other guys don't agree, like
It's true, but at the same time, it can work both ways. First of all, the amateurs aren't necessarily going to get picked because you don't know if they're playing. It's not like they're consistent, you know, people that are.
I don't mean the amateurs as much. I'm talking about like the mediocre pros.
And second of all, the mediocre pros, they can look at either way. They can either be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be playing. Unlikely. They're not getting any new information from the draft, or they can use it as motivation to like want to battle even more. So It's not necessarily going to work the way that guy. That's kind of a pessimistic way of looking at that.
I don't know. Either way, though, like
I mean, like those guys are smart enough to know that they're not known as the best players.
Like exactly. Like I didn't feel like the amateurs that were at the table were like shocked. You know,
exactly.
like that they didn't get chosen. You know what I mean?
It's like patronizing, isn't it? Like
a little bit. Like I mean, these guys put up $25,000 playing a tournament. You know, we don't assume these people are like lack intelligence. Like, they're smart people.
Yeah,
they're not like
handle themselves.
They're shocked by it. They know they're up against it when they're sitting down in one of these big.
They're also
rollers.
probably not babies. Like
right.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that relevant.
Yeah, me neither. But anyway, moving on to the main topic, or one of the main topics I wanted to cover. So the big news in poker of late was Mike Leah, right? So you know the story here?
Yeah.
So the cliff notes on this story, Mike Leah has destroyed that Niagara Falls tournament. Like he's won 4 out of the last 5 years. He was, you know, super, everyone's congratulated him, excited, and then someone looked at that, like the hand history, and it was like an obvious chip dump.
Yeah.
Where
He like made $7 million. He went all in for
he went like 1.7 million. He's like, raise you 40K more. He's like, oh, you got to fold when you're beat. They were joking about it, very open
They
about
weren't
the
trying
fact.
to hide anything.
No, there was no like shady sort of hiding it. And so before I go too further on this, I want to first of all say that like I don't think Mike Leah broke any rules. I don't think he did anything unethical. I do think it kind of sucks though, right?
It does suck a little
So
bit.
I would ask Mike, for example, let's say it was like the last event of the year and he was leading the player of the year for the WPT. Right? And you were at the final table and you like needed to win to pass it. And you just made a deal for everybody that you got to win.
Right.
Like, I'm sure how you feel about that, right? What you did is essentially no different in that you just are doing it because you think maybe like winning WPT Player of the Year gives you some sort of sponsorship opportunities or you just want the trophy, you can afford it, but you can like have a direct effect on someone else's chance to win. And so that brought up a lot of discussion in the poker community about sort of like whether it was right or wrong.
Well, I think that's on the WPT that if they to fix their system if they're letting that happen.
Well, the WPT did for a while, for about a 4-year period. They had a no chop rule. You weren't allowed to make deals because what they didn't want to have happen was guys at a final table, you know, doing that on TV, right? Like, and the example I wanted to use is like Federer and Nadal. Like, imagine they're at Wimbledon and they're in the final and they're just like, okay, well, you get like 1.2, I get 6. I'm like 55% favorite here.
Yeah.
So we'll do like an ICM chop. I'll get the trophy.
It's a little bit different.
And, well, I mean,
but
you see, I'm using an extreme example, but then they just like hit it over the net and he just gets like all aces and wins
He's
the
like,
match.
oops.
It's like it would destroy it.
Yeah.
If they didn't compete because they made a deal, it kind of like hurts production. So it really sort of took a life of its own. Like a lot of people have very passionate opinions about this. Most people feel like, listen, Mike didn't do anything wrong, and I don't disagree. But the question is, should the organizers themselves have the right to impose rules that don't allow for something like this to happen?
And can they impose a rule that they can't really enforce? And what are they going to do? Take his first place money and be like, so you can't have it?
So I know from personal experience, when we did this free roll with ESPN in 2004, we had to sign a piece of paper that said no deals, and because it was a free roll. It was like a $2 million free roll. We had no deals, and if you got caught making a deal, you'd have to pay $5 million.
Right. So it's bad for TV. They're spending.
Yeah. So it ended up being three-handed with Andy Duke, Phil Hellmuth, and Howard Lederer, and apparently they weren't afraid of the $5 million lawsuit because they absolutely made a deal. She went on TV later and lied about it. Shocker. But yeah. So the question is, and I want to go to some tweets.
Is that public? The deal thing? Has that been? Like,
she lied about it. Like everyone knows. Everyone knows that they made a deal. Like Phil admitted it, and she lied. She said it didn't happen. She was like, "Yeah, we made a small deal." It's like because Phil. He can't like pretend like he didn't get no money. Yeah. Phil's Phil. He's just gonna do his thing. So I want to start with just like the first part of the tweet chain. It started with Norman Chad, actually, oddly enough. So he tweeted out, "I'm a big Mike Leah fan, but his disputed WPT deal could have been avoided by doing what I proposed from day one, that Poker Pros oppose, no deals, period, hashtag bad for the game, hashtag casual fans don't understand it, hashtag it's all rigged result."
Yeah.
So this is where it takes a turn. So Ike quoted the tweet and said, Ike Haxton said, "When we're being paid to play rather than charge rake, you can make whatever rules you want. Until then, the prize pool belongs to the players. You don't get to tell us how we can divide it up." Okay, pretty strong stance that he has and seems, reasonable.
Logical.
Olivier Bousquet chimed in and said, "Is it your contention that if tournament organizers put together a WTA event, the players should feel free to divide the prize pool any way they see fit since it belongs to them?" And it goes on, and well, they get kind of heated. And I chime in because this is what I do.
Yeah, for fun.
And because I have a different take. I said, so organizers provide the schedules, the structures, the payouts, the dealers, the chips, the venue, the floor staff, the rake pricing. So I would imagine that they have every right to set rules they see fit, and if the players don't like them, they can choose not to play.
Seems the way markets work.
Like, what am I missing here?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? So then, then it got into the ethical questions of okay, so if they have that right, if the WP has the right to say no deals, right, and you do make a deal, Olivia, is that cheating?
And also, how would they enforce
Well, but is that cheating?
Is it cheating? No.
Let's say you get heads up. It says in the rules, you can't make a deal, and you get heads up.
I actually saw Bonomo make a tweet that I agreed with, that there's a difference between breaking the rules and cheating.
Sure.
I think it's very clear that that's true.
And also Christopher Kruk chimed in by saying that heads up, there's no possibility for collusion because they're heads up by definition, right? But that's not entirely true.
Not entirely true because there's a second tournament going on, which is the Player of the Year.
Not only that, forget about even take the Player of the Year thing aside. Let's say we're three-handed. Let's say me and you were three-handed with some other guy, right? Now, let's say he's a decent player, right? Now we know he doesn't chop. He won't chop. You and me know that we'll chop. We like to give each other a fair ICM chop. So we could be incentivized a little bit to soft play, whether or not we are doing it consciously. Yeah, just to be like, what, let's make sure we get him out so that way we can lock up a certain amount of money. Let's say you have a good amount of chips, you might just want to protect that ICM value and not worry about having to play it out and maybe losing it all.
That can work to that other guy's advantage.
It could, but here's my only concern with it. And Justin made some very good points about it, but my concern is this guy doesn't know that.
Right.
So if it's transparent, it's fine. If everyone knows, he's like, okay, well, you're not gonna make a deal. Okay, we want you out.
Yeah, we're gonna fuck you.
So if 4 amateurs are playing with a pro, and the pro's like, I don't make deals, and like, okay, guys, let's get this guy out of here, right?
Yeah.
So that's
which happens, I'm sure.
That's implicit collusion. But it's out in the open, right? There are other forms of implicit collusion where, for example, there's six people left. Me and you are in a hand. The guy's all in. Just check it down the river. We're obviously doing what we can to leverage to get this guy out.
Right.
Not much different than, for example, maybe taking a closer decision against a really good player to bust him so that I can get the weaker player.
Yeah, there's a thin line between strategy and collusion.
Right, but so anyway, it just feels a little greasy if I knew that or if I didn't know that if I'm playing three-handed with two guys and they're actually, because I think it's very difficult to not allow it to subtly affect your decisions. Right?
But at the same time, is it even worth discussing because there's no way to prevent it?
Well, I mean, that's one of the things. So that's this whole, gun question and everything else. It's like, so if there's no way to enforce like a rule, should we just not have any
Well,
rules?
it's not even that. There can't even be a rule to prevent what you're saying. Like the example you gave about the.
Well, the rule you can make is
no chops.
No chops,
Yeah.
right? So if you catch somebody making a deal, you could put some sort of infringements where you're barred from playing future tournaments or anything like this. But I guess my biggest bone of contention, I guess, with the position that I took originally is that while the prize pool is put in by the players, the organizers have every right to decide how it gets divvied
Once
up.
the prize pool has been placed into the organizers' hands, it is
Well,
then
they
their
have every right.
responsibility, not only their right, it's their ressibility to uphold whatever rules they set
Yeah.
forth and not let the players
And in
dictate it.
addition to that, they can, if they felt like, the organizer felt like, you know what, for the integrity of the event, I'm putting this thing on TV, I don't want any deals in my tournament, putting that in the rules, you guys got to sign that,
Yeah,
make it
then
clear to
it's their
people.
job to
And then when
uphold
you
it.
do sign that, the question is, again, like, this is where Olivier, because he has a very abstract and interesting way of like really looking at what's more ethically correct and what's not. It's like, if you did make a deal anyway, really not repercussions, and you broke that rule, is that unethical?
Right, and that is the closer debate.
Right. Like, I guess, I break rules. Like, I don't drive the speed limit. Right, Marissa?
No.
It's unbelievable, though. So, like,
Are you cheating when you
What?
break the speed
well,
limit?
I look at it this way. So the speed limit is a suggestion, right?
Right.
And I know the rules. So, like, if it's a 45,
It's actually not a suggestion.
it's kind of a
It's
suggestion.
technically-
In Italy, there's no suggestion whatsoever.
Right.
It's just drive however
Oh,
fast.
when you're in Italy, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
So let's say it's a 45. I'm driving, and I know what the penalty is for driving 55. Okay, it's a fine of some kind or whatever. Like, I calculate that into my decisions, and I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with driving 55 and a 45.
That is similar to this spot actually.
Right. Where like I'm actually breaking a rule, but I'm not. I wouldn't put it in the same token as like cheating other people.
And also, I think it depends on like the situation, like you said. Like there are situations where it doesn't matter at all, and I would have no problem breaking the rule. And then there are situations like, for example, say the U.S. Poker Open had a prize for first place or a prize for first, second, and third. Then it can get pretty tricky.
Well, this actually was a common issue that happened in the Commerce Casino years ago. Like years ago, we would have like a best all-around player. I used to play the Dell APC.
Yeah.
And it was, and let's just be honest, it was a large majority of like Vietnamese players who played. They had different ethical views of like what was okay and what was not. There was like a lot like open collusion and soft play and this kind of thing.
And like bring chips into the tournament.
Well, yeah, it was one of them. But there were situations where, for example, like in a shootout, right? Like, your heads up or you're three-handed, they would like let the guy win and they just
Who
take
they
a
think
piece
is
of
the
him
best
who's
chance.
doing really good in the Player of the Year race,
Right.
which kind of affects the people that were doing it more early. So then I think I don't know if it was Matt, it was somebody who enforced a rule where, you can't
I would
chop.
say that is cheating.
Yeah, and I would say that anytime there is an award for Player of the Year, or there's any sort of reward for doing well outside that affects other people, there should be a rule in those events, because there's something added, if there was, that chopping's not allowed.
Well, then shouldn't Mike Leah not have been able to chop?
Well, they didn't have
because they have the 25K. I mean, if you really look at it from a technical perspective,
Wait.
the Tournament of Champions, he's reducing everyone else's chances to win.
because he's in it versus the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy might not even play. The other guy's not gonna play
That's
25K money.
minute. I don't think that's like as big of an
minute,
issue as
it's true.
That's not as big as issue of if there was say 50K for the
But
person.
don't get me wrong. I don't think he did anything wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think it's his responsibility to do what other people think is correct. I think it's his responsibility to do what suits his financial needs and his goals.
Again, I just think, like I said, if there was a cash prize, like 50,000,
if there was,
and if he does like at 5-handed, he was like, "Let me win, I'll give you guys all ICM chops and favorable,"
It's cheating.
and then like that's actually affecting other people. And I know
Clear cheating.
Mike's a really competitive guy,
Yeah.
right? So if he was in the situation where going into the last event, he was leading, and then two people were heads up, and the guys just did that, I know he wouldn't like that. Right. Now, having said that, I'm pretty sure that Mike he's been dealing with a lot of the flack and all that kind of stuff, and that's like not how you want to win, for sure.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure
I
he'd
guess
agree with that, by the way. It's not, I'm sure he wouldn't put up an argument to that point. But he calculated the benefit of not winning the right way versus the financial, rewards and being able to play in that nice 25K and Player of the Year or whatever, and he thought it was worth it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Speaking of awards, you're up for an award this year.
I don't think so.
You have blogger.
No, I don't.
You were like a big freaking. You're a big part of the blog.
I don't vlog. I'm just in vlogs. They got it wrong.
No,
I don't actually.
We're
vlog.
nominated along. We're nominated along with Andrew Neely.
Yeah.
Joey Ingram.
Oh, I mean, so are you going to chop?
Well, you're going to come, and then we're going to you'll be my date.
Oh, nice.
For the thing.
Oh, okay.
If we win, I don't think we're going to win video blogger.
Yeah.
I don't. I think we did a lot of vlogs this year, but they were all concentrated in the World Series.
Yeah.
Hey boys, come here. Oh, I got to show them the jerseys. Come here.
Oh, yeah,
hey,
those are awesome.
Follow. Come here. Where's he at? Hang on a second. Get Follow. Here, bud. Where are you jumping to? Huh? It's all right. Bring him in here.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. They got a Golden Knight jerseys.
I haven't seen them since they were mini.
I know they're getting big, and we're teaching them. We're training them. See that? That's Rocky, Vegas Knights jersey.
Rocky's the more adventurous one.
No, he's a fighter. See, as you can see, he's a tough one. And Apollo's the more shy one. Yeah.
Those are sweet jerseys.
Yeah. So we are up for video blogger. Who else is up? We gotta check this out for a second. There's a whole bunch of awards. I know that, as I said, Doug Polk is also up for Blogger of the Year.
Uh-huh.
It's a poker blog versus the crypto blog
Right.
that he used to do. Let's see here. Where am I going? What am I looking for? American Poker Awards, right? Okay. Hang on a second here. Let me find it. See who's up for what. Because a lot of these awards I don't even I wouldn't even know who to vote for. 2018.
How many are you up for?
Oh shit, I went on YouTube. What am I? I'm up for influencer. So that's another thing that came up with the whole influencer thing. Because I was trying to have a better understanding what they mean by influencer, because I understand influencer to be from a social media perspective, it's a popularity thing, right? But then also an influencer, somebody who's influences the community and can do things like that. So because I looked at the list and it's Carrie Katz.
Is he up for it? Because he
Carrie,
should win.
yeah, I think he should win too. Carrie Katz, Matt Savage, myself, and Doug Polk. So that's why I was okay, so the list, I get Doug Polk for the popularity thing because he's got a big following, but as far as the influencer thing, that part I was he didn't, he doesn't look like an influencer the same way Carrie Katz.
Carrie's changed poker.
Yeah, or Matt
immensely.
Savage.
Without Carrie, there's no Poker Go, there's no Poker After Dark, there's no US Poker Open. I mean, it's not even close.
Right, so I was asking questions about it, and of course he did a video.
Without Matt Savage, the WPT would still happen.
Yeah, well, Carrie's actually been very, very innovative too. And creating new things that could, because theoretically, before Carrie Katz got involved in poker, there was kind of a little bit of a lull, in programming, especially in America or whatever. And he's come up with a subscription model. I know a lot of people it's supposed to be a cable network. I'm well, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
The poker is not exactly all that.
And not to mention, he's not making money off of all this yet. I mean, it's possible in the future he would.
Not really,
He's firing. He loves poker.
What am I looking for? Awards.
He should. He is very, very clear. Sorry, no offense, but he should definitely win.
No, I mean I get it. So again, that's why I said if it is influencer in the term of who's got the biggest following, right? Then I get
who's changing.
But that can't be the only definition. So I guess it's just kind of a mishmash because if you think about influencer on the bigger picture from popularity, then Kevin Hart and Usain Bolt would get the award for all the ads that we did with them, which he has a reach bigger than everyone in poker combined.
Right.
So anyway, I was just I put that
no matter
out.
how you slice it, you shouldn't win, is what you're saying.
Well, I don't know. I think there's a way that I could because not that I'm going to put my resume out, but let's be real here. So I do work with Poker Go and Poker Central. I help Carrie with some schedules and some stuff like that. I do the Poker Star stuff. Now it's going to sound. I'm going to sound like the. I do sit on the board of the St. Jude's charity event. I'm also involved with the Folded Flag charity, which we're going to have an event right after the award show. And also the World Series of Poker, which I don't get paid for, Joey. Can you believe that? Joey said that I only do things in poker where I get paid, which I was like...
What?
He was on a rant on Twitter.
You're getting paid for this?
So much. Oh my God. This huge. Look.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I didn't notice that.
But
cool
so the World Series of Poker, I work with them.
Did someone pay you to wear that?
It is a nice shirt though, right? It makes my arms look good. That's why I did it. So I do stuff for the World Series of Poker. I have a good relationship with Jack. Also Adam Pliska at the World Poker Tour.
Yeah.
I love the game. I love the nerdy award shows, the Player of the Year systems. It's a community that I've always been a part of. Rule changes, the big blind ante, all that kind of stuff. I stick my nose in a lot of different things to throw my 2 cents in there, and I like to have an influence because I don't know that there's a lot of people that care more about that sort of thing.
No, of course.
In poker.
Well, I know that being close to you. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I don't know what it looks like to other people, but it's very clear to me that most of what you do is
this is why I had you on the podcast, man.
Obviously. You got to be a real idiot not to see that, honestly. It's very clear. You got enough money. I mean, if you wanted to, you could just sit back and do nothing.
Just stake you.
Yeah,
Print.
oh yeah, print all the money. We had a bigger house, a few more Ferraris in the driveway.
Teslas, man.
Yeah.
We're conscious over here.
Yeah,
all right, let's look at some of the awards because I don't have a little. See if you have a take on these. So up for Poker Journalist of the Year, Drew Amato, Lance Bradley, B.J. Nemeth, Steve Ruddock, and Jessica Wellman. Anyone stick out there?
I mean,
they all obviously.
I did a thing. Lance reached out to me to do a little thing with him, so I got to go with him.
I think Lance is pretty consistent. Lance has put up really consistent work and
And he wore that shirt for a year.
He did wear the shirt for a year.
Award for that.
Steve Ruddock does some things too. Obviously, he wrote a piece about my whole Rake conversation, right? Where he basically explained that it's been completely mischaracterized. I wrote a blog about it, by the way. If you want to check it on fullcontactpoker.com, it's my thoughts on Rake, where I explained what I said is completely logical, practical. It's I'm not pro Rake. That is absurd. Anyone saying that or trying to say that because I said one phrase. My favorite part of one of the videos that he recently did was he said this. He said, "Actions speak louder than words," and then went on to go talk about a bunch of words that I said. Not a single action that I took to increase Rake in any way, shape, or form.
Obviously, you have no say in the actual.
Well, no, I do. I mean, I always throw my 2 cents in, but obviously it's not my company, and I don't have to say. What I was trying to explain, which I explained in the video, which is obvious, and also Steve Ruddock, I'm glad he's the first one up. He wrote a piece explaining that I was actually what I said was logical and just right.
Right.
The idea is, if you had a random dude, right? Let's say your cousin. He wants to go play poker, and he's got $1,000 to play. And he's got 2 choices, right? Both are bad, but he wants to gamble and have some fun and maybe win, right? One shot is he can play against 9 pros and pay a $1 Rake per hand, right? Or he can go play with 9 people just as bad as him and pay $250 a hand, a high Rake, right? Which both he's going to lose in because the Rake is too high in this one. But which would he have a better chance of lasting longer, possibly having a better time, feeling like he's more on a competitive level? It's clearly the one where the Rake would be slightly higher if that meant, there was no regs in the game. Right? It's obvious, logical, duh.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't believe that raising Rake is the answer to poker. A poker ecosystem, we didn't even go this way, but I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah.
So a poker ecosystem has 3 parts, right? You have the people who contribute to it, the losing players. Mm-hmm. Then you have professional players, and you have Rake, right? 2 of those 3 are bad for the ecosystem. Right. Not 1. Right. 2 of those 3, right? So the Rake takes money out. That's bad.
Are worse for
but the pros take out more money than the Rake, right? Yeah. So the guys who are winning, having said that, that is poker. Poker's always been a game where it should be a situation where if you play well enough, you should be able to win.
But also having said that, PokerStars are not in business to make the pros money. I mean, that's just doesn't make any sense. That makes much less sense than anything else anyone said. PokerStars' responsibility is not to make, or any poker site, not just PokerStars, any poker operator, poker site in general, their responsibility is to themselves to have healthy games and make themselves money. They're not.
Well, for me, I would my thought process on that is the number one, the most important part of that ecosystem that you have to cater to is the contributors. Because if they don't bring money in for pros to win and for Rake to come out, they can't pay their bills. The pros wouldn't even have a game to play. Because without this group of the ecosystem, the 3 parts, this one doesn't play, there was no Rake happening. So the game just goes kaput. A game with 9 pros and no contributor doesn't exist. So the most valuable, the VIPs in the ecosystem are the ones who, unfortunately for them, lose. Fortunately for pros and companies who run poker sites, Anyway, so on to next topic.
And what were how do we get into that from the media? Oh yeah.
Because Steve Ruddock, he wrote the piece about how what I said is completely logical.
Yeah.
Duh. All right, so Industry Person of the Year nominees. We got Tony Burns, Sean McCormick, Adam Pliska, Matt Savage.
I don't know. It seems like Sean should win, I guess.
So Tony Burns is the guy.
The most progress.
Tony Burns is the guy in Florida.
Yeah.
Who, I don't go there enough. I've been there once.
I've been there once too. I
and
had a good time.
He gets a lot of positive feedback.
I've never heard anything but good things.
But hard to vote for a guy that I don't really know firsthand what he does and stuff. Pliska's been president of president of WPT. Does a fantastic job looking to grow there. Matt Savage always there to work, doing his thing. And then McCormick, like as you said, on this list, he's probably like the one.
The most up and coming.
Well, yeah, because it's creating like sort of he's part of creating like a new platform for poker.
And he really loves poker. He's great.
For sure.
He's great to anyone that's playing in his room. He's a
Yeah.
super nice guy. He's always nice.
The people that play at Aria love it.
Yeah,
like, and that's a big part of it because him and Paul and the whole staff, like even honestly during the
They
U.S.
do it
Poker
right.
Open, they did a great job. And this is a hard group to work with sometimes because sometimes running a tournament with 200 people is actually easier than running one with like 22.
It's less personal.
Well, not only that, like with re-entries and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, like balancing and all this kind of, it can be chaotic.
But
like,
they handled it very well.
Yeah.
I've played very few of like the high roller tournaments. I've literally played like 2, and both times, like the last time I played, someone wanted to register a little bit past late registration was over. It was a big tournament. They got a huge turnout, and they just went around like, does anyone care? And they were all just like, no, and they let them do it. They're there for the players. They're not there to like have an ego or
Yeah.
do what they want to do. They're there to
that's
make
the way it should be.
They're there to
Like-
make it a good experience for all players and make it fair.
Like
And
ultimately,
they do
and
a
I've
good
always
job.
said that. I've said that both to Poker Stars, to various different groups that I speak with, is like ultimately a small group of people like that, if they want the tournament this way, let it be this way.
Of course.
Which I got into a beef. I don't know if I talked about this in the last podcast. I might have, but with like Matt Savage and Steve Badger and all these guys about Big Blind Ante.
Mm-hmm.
So the Big Blind Ante, the way that it works, the way we do it, is like if a guy gets short, let's say he owes 8K Big Blind, 8K Ante. So basically he would pay what he has for the big blind first, so then he can get action on that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he can only break even on the hand. So he could win a pot with like against 6 people, and best case scenario is like he just gets his chips back.
Right.
Because he's like he
So
didn't
if he
have
has 10K, it's an 8K big blind, 2K ante.
yeah, and it's a little more player friendly. It's what the players prefer. It's what they like. But of course, like these guys want to just reinvent the
It
wheel.
doesn't technically make sense in all
No,
ways,
no,
but
I
it's
understand. Like, so
definitely the
maybe
best solution.
theoretically, like, okay, I get Steve Badger's points that, like, well, poker's always been antes first and then blinds. I'm like, that's true, but this is a new evolution of the way we do things, so we can adjust that as well.
It's clearly much more player friendly.
There's no precedent for this, so we can
Also,
do it however
think
we
about
want
a
to do it.
recreational player coming in and winning, going all in, being all in and winning the pot and getting back exactly what they started
Yeah,
with.
that's my thing. Is like they said, oh, this will cause a lot of problems. The way we do it, and we've been doing it for a year and a half. Oh, that could cause a lot of problems. From who? Who's going to complain and go, wait a minute, that guy was all in for 8, now he's got 32. No one gives a shit. Everyone feels sorry for the short stack typically.
Yeah.
But the short stack who comes says, what do you mean? 1 chip, I win, 1 chip again? He'll be pissed.
Yeah.
Why did I do an
That was a
accent
good
for that?
That was great. All the short stackers are usually Russians, I guess, or something.
That wasn't even Russian.
What
That
was
was
it?
like, I don't know, man. It's just a mix of different things. All right, I got a pretty strong opinion on this one. The breakout player of the year, we got DJ Alexander, Mike Del Vecchio, William Allen Foxen, and Artur Papazian. Who do you got?
I don't know. Seems like a close race between Del Vecchio and Foxen, I guess.
So I didn't really know much of Del Vecchio until I actually funny because I played with him and Foxen at WPT 5 Diamond, and Del Vecchio was good.
I played with him.
There's
for
a
while.
lot of things that I won't get into too much detail about what he does that was good, like that made him very difficult to read.
Yeah.
And Foxen has an amazing presence at the table. He's like a big guy,
I played with him at
and
Fun
he's
Diamonds,
very,
yes.
very intense.
Yeah.
Fights hard. Matt, they both made the final table with that one.
Yeah.
Pretty deep with that. DJ Alexander, I don't have any personal experience with. You?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, fair enough. Me neither. Artur Papazan. Papaz, that's the guy who came second twice in the WPT, right? Yeah.
Can't-
So we're really bad.
I just went with the two guys.
No, that I know,
I
right?
know
So
who
who
they
would you go with, Del Vecchio or Foxen?
I don't know. I think I'd have to go with Foxen.
Yeah, I would too.
Because also Del Vecchio to me isn't. He's been around for me. I've been playing
Yeah.
cash with him for a long time, so
Yeah.
he's not necessarily.
But, like
breakout,
cash
totally.
players, like when they break into the tournament scene, they are seen as
Yeah.
like new and
Right.
whatnot. But no, I
It
was.
seems like Foxen has actually come out of relatively nowhere to have extreme success.
Yeah,
so
no, for sure.
it's,
He took on some coaching apparently, and
yeah.
that helped him. It seems like. Okay, so tournament performance of the year: Scott Blumstein won the World Series main event. Darren Elias won Fallsview. Congrats! I
That's so random.
No, Bryn Kenny won Monte Carlo, which is like obviously a cool event. And Bryn Kenny had a pretty banner
And that's
year.
it, right?
And that pretty much.
I would go with Scott. I mean, he won the main
Well, there's a
event.
guy who won the one drop. The other one, Doug Pope.
Who?
He won the one drop.
Oh, I missed that one.
You missed that one. Okay.
Oh, my bad.
But I think it's pretty safe to say that the guy who wins the main event, it's like you play for 9 days.
Hard to argue.
It's hard
I don't
to
know
top
how
that.
someone
And it's
else
like
can win.
I don't even know why this is an award because it seems kind of silly. Like How do you define performance? Like,
And how do you beat the main event of the World Series of Poker?
exactly. Like, it's the most epic tournament win of the year.
Strange.
Like, I mean, maybe it's winning who won Super High
Little
Roller Bowl?
bit.
Oh, Christoph Vogelsang. Like,
Yeah,
why wasn't he on there?
I don't know.
I don't know. 'Cause that should probably get some things because that's a really, really tough field.
That's
I don't
true.
know. So here we go with mid-major circuit of the year nominees.
Pass.
I said pass. I don't know the Mid-States Poker Tour. I don't. So this is where we're like slightly out of touch with poker, bro. We gotta get back to work.
I'm gonna go World Series of Poker circuit.
I've played the World Poker Circuit. They got deep
Yeah.
stacks. They got Run Good Poker Series.
I think they did a great job this year.
Who did?
How does one circuit do much better than the next on a yearly basis?
I don't know. No, that would be one that's over my head. Okay, event of the year. Got some opinions on this one. You got Super High Roller Bowl. You got the Party Poker Millions, North America. You got Poker Masters event number 1. That seems kind of like arbitrary and weird, but it's just like
Maybe
number
it's
one.
a typo. Or
I don't know. That doesn't make
Poker
sense.
Masters.
And then the World Series of Poker main event. I would say like,
Once
this year
again-
I felt like a down year for the Super High Roller Bowl.
It's hard to argue again with the World Series main event. I mean,
Yeah.
what? How can you beat that? It's the
John
pinnacle
Hesp.
of all tournaments.
We had the John Hesp story.
It was a fantastic
He was
tournament this
fantastic
year.
for the poker. Like,
Yeah.
just like having fun, doing his thing, playing
Yeah.
weird, just leading at people.
And then you had another guy that was like going wild. pretty deep,
the
too.
drunk guy.
Yeah,
What's his name?
that was awesome.
Yeah. So we're going main event. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's hard to argue.
Jake Schindler and Christoph Vogelsang, heads up. The one thing about them is like, and I love Jake, but when you see I sit next to Jake, and this is what conversations sound like. I can't hear him.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta clean
He's a
my
bit
ears
of a
up.
mutterer.
Yeah, a bit of a mutter. And Christoph obviously doesn't do much talking. But as
He's
far
too
as like,
busy with his scarf around his neck.
Yeah.
And around his face, it's hard to talk through that thing.
yeah, but as far as skill, like those are two guys you really want to watch. So the charitable initiative of the year will be, it's not up for vote. I want to make a case for the St. Jude Children's Hospital event I do every November that I run. I'm actually on the chair, so I helped like develop it and all that kind of stuff. We've been doing it 4 years running. This year, I want a special thanks to Matt Stout of the Charity Poker Series, who I'm also on the board of as well, who did a really fantastic job of making the event special. Like it was my favorite one of
Are
the
you
four.
there to help them charge more rake?
Yeah, we charge more rake that goes to charity
Yeah.
for the kids who have cancer, right? So
Yeah.
more rake is better for kids with cancer.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, sorry, I said it. Okay, but no, really, like Matt Stout does a really good job with the whole charity series of poker, and I'm working with him as well on the folded flag event. We're doing a fun little thing where I think I'm gonna give a little poker lesson, which is something I do throughout the year. I do it for One Drop as well, where like people will auction off like lessons. They'll come sit here at this house, maybe with 4 or 5 guys, have some drinks, teach a little
That's
poker, and it's fun to do that when you get like 4 to 6 people, because like typically they're wide range of skill, and teaching them like just the very, very basics, but it's fun when they start to see like cool concepts. You're like, oh, he did that because this.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just fun.
It's
But
like
mostly
an
it's just like to hang out and stuff. An award for lifetime achievement in poker. I pray I don't ever, like, I don't want to win this because I'm too young, man. I'm 43.
Yeah.
I ain't done yet. My achievements will happen when I'm Doyle's age, like 80, 85, I don't want to win that one.
You're gonna be on Twitter still?
Huh?
For
Of
sure.
course.
You'll be better than
If
him on
Twitter's
Twitter.
a thing. I just don't think I'll ever get on the Snapchat thing.
Yeah.
I actually had a guy who does like social media stuff, and he's like, "You're too old for Snapchat." He was like serious. He's like, "Honestly, dude, you're too old for Snapchat." Like,
Time's passed.
yeah, I guess so. it's like a millennial thing, or the generation. What is the new generation? Generation Tide Pod.
Oh, is that what the
That's what I call them. Generation Tide Pod munchers. Just give me some Tide Pod, some balsamic vinaigrette on it. All right, poker moment of the year nominees. 70-year-old John Smith makes back-to-back World Series of Poker 10K heads-up finals.
That is pretty cool.
Emma Zajmovic becomes first female player to win open event in the World Poker Tour. Vanessa Self's Full House loses to Gail Bauman's quads early in the World Series. Remember that?
Yeah, but poker moment of the year is like a cooler.
Certainly wasn't her moment, right?
Yeah.
Tom Dwan makes his return to America. Stars on Poker After Dark reboot of Poker Go. On Poker Go. What do you got here?
Can I go with none of them?
Oh, come on. One of them is
I would go with John, the top one. The
Bingo.
top-
Slam dunk.
Yeah, clear back to
It's
back.
like, think about poker the way it is today, right? All these young geniuses,
you're right. That
all
one is-
these like solver-based players
Yeah.
GTOing their ass. John Smith comes in here and I'm giving you
Suspenders.
like old GTO. You know, I'm giving you old school GTO.
No, that was
like,
awesome. You're right.
just epic. A
100%.
7-year-old guy is just like, well, they can't read me and I can read them. Like, just amazing story, right?
And that guy doesn't even...
He doesn't play hardly
you don't see
ever.
him anywhere else, I don't think.
No.
Like, in poker, other than he just
shows up for that
tournament
event
and
and
gets
he's like,
first or second or
no big
third or
deal.
whatever.
Second, 2 years in a row. All right, so poker media content of the year. Adrian Moreno in tears after little one for one drop win, days after losing his friend. Drew a model photo, so that's like the photo.
Okay.
Dead Money, a super high rollerball story. Matt Berkey story. Poker Brat, the Phil Hellmuth story. Published by D&B Publishing. PhilHellmuth.com. My favorite thing about the Phil Hellmuth book, holy smokes. He asked me to write like a forward for him. I'm like, sure, Phil, do him a favor, be nice.
Right.
So then the cover of the book, when I get it, he hands it to me and he says, what does it say? World's greatest poker player. Forward by Daniel Negreanu.
World's greatest poker player, as if you're endorsing
World's
him.
greatest poker player. Forward by Daniel Negreanu.
Yeah.
I love it. So the last one was Resilience Defined. Shetty Siddiqui raising his 2 boys. Hashtag for Kathy. Lance Bradley article. I didn't see that one. I don't know about that one. Where are you going here?
I mean, it's hard to say. I haven't seen any of them.
Okay, I'll go with Dead Money.
Oh, no, I did see Dead Money a
Dead
little
Money's
bit.
fun. I think that kind of stuff is cool.
Yeah.
Like more of those like
It's
30
cool
for
he's really
30s.
trying to get...
Yeah, I think it's like a different way to like look at poker. Like I think these vlogs, I think what part of why Andrew Nemi is so successful with what he does is like he really relates to grinders and these people that want to live that life, and gives people a chance. So for Berkey, he puts together a piece of work that, gives people like a glimpse into what it takes to like playing a high roller from all angles.
And be Dead Money in it.
Well, yeah. I don't think it's Dead Money, but
Well, that's what he
all
said.
right, this is going to be a contested freaking category for sure. Poker Streamers of the Year nominee. Gotta confess.
This is a good one.
I know a lot of people. And before we go any further, this is an American Poker Awards. So the reason you won't hear Lex Veldhuis's name is he's not American. Otherwise, I think he would have crushed this year.
Yeah.
Maybe European. He's like the boss now. He's doing, 10, 12-hour days. He's got the highest numbers of anyone, I think. But we've got, for Americans, Jeff Gross, Bill Perkins, Jason Somerville, Jamie Staples, and Parker Talbot. So Jason Somerville wins this award basically every year, or has. Question is he just grandfathered in? Or are some new up-and-comers like gonna, make a case? Because he's cut back his streaming a lot. He's doing the Run It Up Reno, doing other things, programming-wise. But who do we like here? And Parker Talbot is gonna be really upset with me because on Twitter, I put a bunch of names to a guy who was like, he wants to learn how to play poker. And I go, you should watch Twitch. And I gave out some names. And I didn't put Parker Talbot's name. And he's like, I was like, sorry, these are the ones that I knew. And I'm like, I know him. I know who he is. I follow him on Twitter, but like, I never met him or not like that, but I knew all the other guys that and I don't watch anybody stream. It's like, I don't got time for that.
Yeah, no one's here.
I ain't got
No
time
one's
for
got
that.
time for that.
Shit, I ain't got time for that. So who do we go with here?
I've actually
Perky's
seen
probably fun because he's like,
Yeah.
Streamboat. Perky probably wouldn't be the one that you look for technical advice on because he's just blasting it up there on the
I've
Streamboat.
actually watched Bill stream and
It's
he's
just fun.
very fun.
If you want an entertaining stream, Bill Perkins got to be up there.
Yeah.
Jeff Groves is a sidekick in that regard because he does a little bit of both. JG's like he's doing some.
And he loves poker also.
Oh yeah, high analysis.
I think
plus
everyone
that.
on this list loves poker.
Staples and like I said, Parker Talbot. A lot of he has a very good chance apparently because a lot of people, young, he really appeals to them. Like I said, man, sorry, I don't watch any of them, but
Yeah.
I've seen clips here and there. Lex actually is the one that I like. Like his quick, I just love the way he says the word fuck.
Oh, okay.
It's funny to me.
Yeah,
Just
you just
the
watch
way
it.
he says that one word.
Right.
It's just the best.
And you like his sponsor.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Right, PokerStars.com. No, okay, so
So you give that award to Lex, basically.
we give the award to Lex.
Yeah.
Poker Streamer of the Year. Yeah, Lex Veldhuis. All right. Poker Broadcaster of
this
the
one's-
Year.
Maybe we can. I mean, we know who's going to win this.
Well,
one.
let's say the names.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Okay,
I'm
Nick
excited for
Schulman.
this one. Yeah.
Joseph Stapleton, Lon McCarron, Ali Najad. I like all 4 of these people
Yeah. Me too.
a lot.
But it's got to be Nick.
Okay, so why?
Because I think he's had the biggest impact. He's gotten the most buzz of any of these people by far. I mean, they all do a great job. They've all done a great job for, a long time. And Nick's, the one of these 4 that is new that everyone is talking about and literally everyone loves. I mean,
So what's interesting about this list to me is you have 2 straight men, if you will, Ali Najad and Lon McCarron. Ali's also like a little bit of a jokester. You got Joseph Stapleton, who's more like comedy guy. He's the comedy guy, like the Norman Chad type. But Nick is the only poker pro
And he's also
that actually is doing high-end analysis that's funny, but he does it in such a way that's better than any commentator I've ever seen in my life. So he has the unique combination of being good at broadcasting, but understanding the game at a super high level and not nerding it up so much.
Extremely cool.
That people can't like understand it.
He's like the coolest guy in the world.
He's cool.
Yeah.
I think it was, who was it that said this? Oh, Paul Volpe said he's got like a man crush on him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's okay for me to say that because like
He's the man.
he's just cool.
Yeah.
Plays all the games. He's cool. He's gonna be a chess guy.
He's nice to everyone.
Nice to everyone. Slick.
Yeah, it's got to be Nick.
I would be shocked if Nick doesn't win.
Yeah.
You know. And again, I like all.
And it's actually tough because they all do such a great job.
They're all uniquely different, but Nick is the only poker pro on there
right.
that can. He's the only one capable of doing what he does in this group. You know.
But we're actually poker's pretty lucky. All 4 of those guys are so good. At
I
what
like
they
all
do.
of them. Yeah, like Lon is just smooth. I mean, he's been doing it forever.
Ali is extremely smooth too. He can do it night in and night out and never make a mistake. You know, it's impressive.
So, video blogger of the year, as I mentioned before, Joe Ingram. I didn't know that he did a blog. I thought that he hated vlogs, so I'm confused by this one because I remember Joey saying he hated doing vlogs. I don't know if that's a combination of just like YouTube videos and stuff like that they're counting as a blog because I don't know that he's done a lot of it. I wouldn't consider myself a consistent blogger. We do during the World Series. We did like 45 plus another. How many blogs do you think we did? 60 over the year. And I did some videos and stuff, but like it definitely tapered off in the second part of the year because I got burnt out a little bit. It's like
exhausting.
It's a lot of work for Christian.
Poor Christian, man.
Right. So Andrew Nemi would be the most consistent video blogger, and he's like he's so great filmically. Like he was my inspiration for doing a vlog.
Sounds like he's the winner, man.
I would say so. Like he's my inspiration for doing them because I watched him and I'm like, wow, what am I watching this guy go play 5-10 for? And then listen to these poker hands and stuff like that.
And he's not like exciting.
No, it's not like he's like, hey, how's it going? I'm Andrew Nemi. He just does such a great quality job with the vlogs that they flow. You know, really a lot of fun to watch. And then he did vlogs, I guess, right? I mean, I think that him and Joey possibly are a combination of YouTube.
I really don't think he really did much vlogging.
I don't know. I don't exactly.
By default,
the only time I get the only time I see his stuff is when people send me shit and say, "Did you see what he said about you now?"
Right.
I wouldn't think that he would win that one, but I would certainly think that I would give my vote to. Well, I thought ours were good though. Ours, I call them ours. I thought the quality of ours were very, very good. I didn't have anything to do with that, so I can say that. But the team of people that we had, they made like daily vlogs for the whole 45 days. Yeah. The only issue we had there, small, was like I wanted them up by noon every day, and we were late a lot of times, like 2-3 o'clock. But we got one up.
Christian.
It wasn't Christian's fault.
Okay.
It was, and this year, we're definitely going to work on that. I'm probably going to go if I do it, I'm going to do like shorter ones.
Right.
Because I don't want to do 17 minutes a day. We can get them done in 10, and maybe a little more poker content in there.
Yeah,
just give away all the secrets. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I got eyes on me right now that are like, don't do that. Not the secrets. There's people here. Shh, don't worry. I won't tell them all about GTO and BBO and CDO and all the tricks. Mum's the word. We're just going to go vague, I check here sometimes, I don't know. Who knows? I just feel like checking. I'm going to check.
What is that accent?
I don't know. Just, hey,
all over the place.
What are you going to do? I'm going to check. Because sometimes I check. That's what's up. There's shit. Pissed at me now. Okay. All right. All right. So we got Poker Podcast of the Year. We're not nominated, which is fine because literally we did what? You didn't do it.
This is my first one.
Yeah. Well, I've done I didn't do them regularly.
Yeah.
But so here we go. I listen to 3 out of 4 of these regularly. I never miss one because I listen to podcasts for a different reason. I like to actually stay up to date on what's happening in poker, and I have for 20 years. I read what's
poker.
Yeah, I do. So the Poker Central podcast, with Brett Hanks, Will O'Connor, and Remco Rimkema, who is the glue who keeps it all together. He also does Heads Up with Remco, which wasn't nominated apparently because he is considered European. So that one wasn't, but this one is because there's Americans. And that's a fun one. 3 totally different takes often on that podcast. Will O.C. will say some things. I'm like, what in the world are you talking about?
Who do you align with usually?
Remco, always. And then, Remco. He's my number 1 there. Will, sometimes I'm like, what? But then other times I'm like, yeah, you go, Will. He picked me in his draft this year. So he's smart guy. Yeah, very, very smart. Will O.C. Poker News Podcast. Now you've got Brett Harrington, Sarah Herring, and Matt Parvis occasionally drops in. I don't know if he's the regular anymore. He was. And Sarah's fun. She tries to keep it light. She likes the drama. He likes to have the drama on there, which is fun. And Brent keeps up to date on poker and stuff like that. The next one you got is the Poker Life podcast by Joey Ingram, which is a different form. It takes on a different form. It's more like his is more relaxed. They're longer, a couple hours where he's just like, hey, poppy, shout out, poppy. Like, I don't just shoot the shit kind of thing. It's like, it's not necessary. I don't know how to describe it. Hey, puppy, hey, what's going on? Hey! He reminds me of Spicoli so bad from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Jeff Spicoli?
Yeah.
Right on, dude. Yeah. So that one is a different type of podcast. And then you got the 2+2 podcast. Terrence Chan, Ross Henry, Adam Schwartz, maybe my favorite.
Okay.
The first one that I listen to, because I have a lot of podcasts that I listen to on hockey, political podcasts, poker podcasts, and I find myself drawn first and foremost to Terrence and Adam's podcast. Like right now, he's got the weight bet thing, and that's going. You know about the weight bet thing?
No.
Bill Perkins gave him a free roll, $50K. He was 230 pounds for in 6 months.
Who is this?
Adam Schwartz.
Okay.
To get down to 150 pounds.
Wow.
In 6 months, I think it was, or whatever, and then he has to keep it off for 2-month period and weigh in every week.
Wow.
So you could follow his journey and the whole
That's
deal.
Cool.
He's got Terrence Chan, who's knows how to cut weight because he's a UFC fighter and he can do so he kind of helped him and gave him advice.
But you got to do more than cut it. You got to keep it off, right? It's not.
So you learn a lot about diet and food too. He didn't have no salt for the last 4 days, no water, no salt.
Is Jamie Staples going to win his bet?
They're close, right?
I don't know.
Perky's the freaking Robin Hood of poker, man. He should just get an award for being Robin Hood. Because you know what I love about what Perky does is he comes up with bets that will better those people's lives whether they win it or lose it. Right? So so what? So if Jamie...
Well, actually, it's not true because doesn't his brother have to gain a ton of weight?
Well, but good weight. But he's trying to bulk up. He was 135 pounds. He's trying to, add some muscle. One of the guys I work with in poker, he's been trying to gain weight forever and he's a toothpick. He can't gain weight. I try to feed him beans and rice. He's like, I can't gain weight, man. He doesn't gain weight. Whatever. So, poker podcast of the year, who do you like there? Do you listen to these?
I have no opinion.
I'm going to go with, I think Terrence and Adam are long overdue.
Seems like they're all good.
Yeah.
Based on your description.
Yeah, it's just the first one I go to, and then the order I go is that one, then Poker Central, typically. So, I don't know. Just being honest. All right, Pocket Funds Legacy Award. All right, so here's the one we were talking about a little bit earlier, the biggest influencer in poker. And so it's Kerry Katz, Daniel Negreanu, Doug Polk, Matt Savage. And apparently me asking to define that was very, very rude because it meant that I was slamming Doug Polk.
Assumed that you were trying to get an
slam. Well, he thought so too, clearly, because whatever. I was trying to get an understanding of how these four names mesh together, right? Because I can, as far as the following goes, 2 people have one, 2 people don't. As far as people being in the industry, 2 people are very well into the industry. 1 person spends time in the industry. The other one spends time shitting on the industry, every aspect of it. So if it's just influencer, totally makes sense. I could see him winning, Doug. But because he's got his hands in a lot of things. But if it's actually influencing things in poker and having relationships with people in the game and sort of affecting change for the community, for player of the year systems, for things that he likes.
Inspiring growth. Seems like someone that influences the game. You'd want that.
I could make an argument that he inspires growth because Doug.
Really?
Yeah, I would say so because he reaches a new audience on YouTube. A lot of people start to watch his content. But overall, I would say as far as I'm concerned, he's a net negative because most of what he does, or he spends far too much time looking to create drama by shitting on everybody else. Whether it's Jason Mercier, whether it's Ben Tollerine, whether it's most of the people that I really, really like in poker, including myself. Right?
Well, I think almost everything he says he doesn't truly believe in terms of poker stuff. He's just trying to get views.
Right.
Which is actually a nice thing to say because you're saying that he's not actually that negative.
The only problem with it, and if he would be honest about that, why would he? So, if what was I going to say about that? But but that's kind of shitty.
Well,
to shit on people just to get views. But there's better ways to do it. I don't know that it's all that effective necessarily at this point to use that as a strategy. He's already got a following. He can take it in many different ways. But from what I see, it's he continues to spread the same kind of mischaracterization.
What's worked?
His bread and butter is just to create drama and attack people and fight people. And I honestly think that if you look at the people in the poker media and other players, I really do believe that because he does attack so heavily on people that they're afraid to confront him. So they don't really hold him accountable.
Well, he's built a fan base of people that enjoy that type of content.
Right, but I'm saying when he does make mischaracterizations and blatant lies, in certain situations, people don't necessarily call him out so quickly because they don't want to be attacked.
It's true.
People in the poker media, they don't make a lot of money.
It's a bully type.
Well, they don't make a lot of money, so they don't necessarily want to make an enemy out of him.
Yeah.
So they just kind of like, stick out of it. So I typically, and you rarely ever hear me talk about this, is probably I wasn't even planning on doing so, because I typically choose to ignore. But unless I defend myself in these cases, I'm not going to expect other people to do so as well, which allows them the opportunity to continue to mischaracterize anything that I say or do in the poker community. The whole actions speak louder than words, and he didn't name one single action I've actually taken that has done anything to embarrass the poker community. If anything, I've done more work in the last 20 years to try to better the game. And even when I'm up against it with some organizations or infighting with companies that I work with and stuff like that, I am on the front lines on a regular basis. I obviously wasn't happy.
What company could you be talking
Well,
about?
one of them was Poker. I mean, I've worked with a lot of different companies over 20 years that have made decisions that I didn't like.
Right.
And that I didn't think were necessarily player friendly. I put my 2 cents in, but ultimately I don't get to make the final decisions on that. I don't get to decide the Rake structures. I don't get to decide what the Supernova Elite structures, are. I can get my 2 cents in, and I also can convey, how the players feel. With the World Series of Poker, it's a perfect example. With Jack Effel, every time I hear people talking about World Series of Poker issues and stuff, I go directly to Jack, I go to Ty, and I tell them, this is how the players are feeling about this. They won't like this, they'll like this. I do this as well with Poker Go, Poker Central, and Poker Stars as well. And obviously I've had, over the last how long have I been with Poker Stars? 12 years, I want to say. There's probably been about 5 decisions I really hated. One was the worst. It was probably the most difficult time for me in poker was when they made that decision to not honor the agreement on the second year of the Supernova Elites. No excuse for that, no defending that, and I never would and I never will, and I've told them that flat out. I think it was a mistake, and I wish they wouldn't have done that. But you're not always going to agree with decisions a company makes. You have to look at the whole sum, and the fact that, this company is the one that bailed out the players after Black Friday. This is the company that when locked poker players were shut out and didn't get paid, PokerStars stepped up. PokerStars is the only company, and I'll say the only company in the entire industry that is actually spending money on the industry to bring new players in. Okay, they're the only ones. There are other online operators right now. PokerStars obviously the biggest, and I don't blame the other operators one bit for the strategy that they're using. And it's very, very simple. Piggyback, right? So PokerStars spends money on ad campaigns with Kevin Hart, with Usain Bolt to try to bring in new players. The other companies, what they try to do is try to once those players come in, offer them deals and give them opportunities to to take those players. I think it's a good, smart strategy for them, and I think it's good for poker that they have options. And I'm actually ecstatic with the fact that PokerStars Live Events has competition. I think it's great for the players, and I want to see other companies up their game because then it forces PokerStars to up their game as well. You can get complacent in a monopoly type situation if you have no real competitors, right? Now that you see innovations like the No Limit, Players Championship. They're going to contribute $8 million to the prize pool, another $1 million on top for first. Try to really create, start off the year with a bang in January. So yeah, and rent. I will be at the awards show. I always have a great time at the show. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of the things that we talk about the hashtag good for poker, bad for poker, whatever.
Clearly good for poker.
Every industry does this.
Yeah.
Every industry, whether it's movies, whether it's music, sports, they have an event to celebrate the game, the people in the game, and what I think is super cool about this is you've got people in this that do a lot of great work for poker that don't necessarily get the recognition. The Drew Amatos, the BJ Nemeths, the people in the media and things like that. This is an opportunity for everybody to get a chance to shine. When you see the Grammys, the Oscars, you see the stars, but you also see the sound guys, the makeup guys, the makeup people. Everyone has an opportunity to celebrate the game of poker. And I don't plan on shitting on award shows. Clearly, they're arbitrary, and you have nomination panels.
There's no negative about it.
Right, but even if people argue about the Oscars too.
Yeah.
Wow, that should have won, this should have won. But
that's
overall,
a good thing.
Yeah,
People
it's
talking about the industry.
How could that be a bad thing? So
I don't see it.
I'll be there. I'm always going to be there to support that. And for the rest of the week, I will be quite busy with the charity event for Folded Flag, which is really, really fun. Folded Flag is the foundation that Bill Foley, who is the owner of the Golden Knights, is that's his main charity. And they asked me to do an event in Los Angeles, which is weird.
Yeah,
the Golden Knights event we're doing in LA on the 25th.
More money, I guess, over there.
No, well, there's a home and home. So we're going to go to the LA game.
Oh, they're playing in LA.
They're playing in LA on the 26th,
cool.
and they're playing here on the 27th.
Right.
So it'll be a full week, including the awards show.
You going to make it to both games?
Yeah, I
course,
don't miss
yeah.
no games because I got my surgery coming up. Got to
Yeah.
get them all in. Surgery for me, March 1st. I got the ACL.
How many
surgery.
hockey games are you gonna miss?
One.
Oh,
The
that's-
Ottawa game, which who cares?
Can I-
Ottawa
that's
sucks.
fine.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can have my
yeah,
tickets, of
okay.
course. You always get my
I want
tickets.
to see Carlson.
Yeah, he's kind of despondent right now.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's stuck in Ottawa. They suck. But so anyway, yeah. The thing about my knee is like I'm feeling good now. Like I'm front squat.
You're
I'm
supposed to be doing that? I guess you can't really hurt it.
Well, you know Richard Seymour, literally one of the nicest guys. If you talk about celebrities or athletes in poker, Richard Seymour blows my mind. Like he's one of the kindest, gentlest, coolest guys I've ever met in poker from there. And like I remember 2 moments where I don't know him that well, but like in January of last year in Bahamas, I lost my dog Mushu, and it was a very hard day. And he saw that I was upset, and he just sat and talked with me and like gave me like really good advice.
Nice.
And it was like just I don't know, it was an emotional day. I was crying, like I had my puppy for 17 years. But he was super nice about that. And then of course he saw me limping this year at the Bahamas, and he's like, "What's up with the limp?" And I told him what's got going on. And of course this is like all pro NFL guy, so he understands knee injuries. And he gave me some advice to strengthen my quads and my calves as much as possible before the surgery, because that'll help with my recovery. And really, like you ask everybody in poker, I'll tell you, I think that they'll say Richard Seymour is like they're like just in love with the guy.
It's too bad there's no award for nicest.
And he did really well.
Celebrity in poker.
Yeah, he should. He came like 3rd or 4th in the 25K.
Yeah.
I want to say.
Seems like he really likes the enjoys the game.
He's a competitor
too. Yeah.
He's a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
But this was my list of things that I do in poker. I think I hit them all. No, by accident. I was just like gonna write a blog, and then I said, nah, screw it.
Right.
I got a friend of mine. You remember Ennis Williams? He did Choice Center. I coached him.
I don't know.
Black dude. You don't know.
We worked out with him.
You worked out with Ennis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
with
maybe
Tiffany.
once,
At the
one
Diamond.
time.
Yeah. So I'm doing a charity event for him also in May for the Diamond Foundation, which is like his alma mater and stuff like that. I did one for him last year. Didn't get a great turnout, so hopefully this year we can do a little more promotion and get that going. And yeah, so anyway, it's fun having you here.
Thanks for
We should
having
just
me.
do this all the time.
Yeah, I'm
Shoot the
in.
shit.
For sure.
Because if we do this anyway, we might as well just do this
Yeah, just put a mic in front of us. Same
for the people.
Yeah.
Are you going to play poker tonight?
No. I have to fly to Florida tomorrow for a funeral, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to hear
Yeah.
that. Way to end it on a downer.
Yeah, no, I mean, it happens. Life goes on. Yeah. So no poker for me.
I hear you. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, that was another edition of the Full Contact Poker Podcast. It took a turn that we weren't planning on, but
Dark.
whatever. So, we'll just leave it right there.
Yeah.
Peace.